used to work here. It's for quite some time. Made a just in time,
So there we go. That's the Ford dealership I used to work at. That's right. Right here in our hometown neighborhood. They are going out of business. Here's the entryway. If you've watched the intro to some of my videos. Here it is. Closed. And now it's just gone. Everything's gone. Looks like a cleanup crew. Everett to lose Ford dealership as Epic Ford's set to shut down. The story was broke on May 9th. Used to be Brian Ford. It used to be a mom and pop kind of operation, and now it's not. It was ran by some big corporation who, they only let the managers do so much. And I mean, a lot of good people are going to lose their jobs, which is sort of sad. I mean, hopefully they'll find better places to work than that Ford dealership. I mean, it's just they didn't upgrade anything. We didn't have a parts cleaner. Again, I had a stack of broken computers to go through and try and figure out which one would work. Even though I have this one that I'm streaming on now, I could have I could have kept this computer, but no, that's a security risk. It's like, all right, so you can't hire people. They kind of let the whole place go under because they weren't, it was weird. It was like, managers, yes, you can do these things, but don't expect us to spend any money on equipment or technology or IT people or, so that's kind of what happens when a big corporation takes over, right? Like, I don't know. I guess it depends on the corporation, but traditionally in my country, it's been sort of the thing. The Ford dealership on the corner. Oh, hey, wait, I know that guy. Good instincts. That's right. Thank you. It was just, I didn't enjoy my work there. And that was a big reason why, because they just weren't, I mean, the people I worked with were really cool, really nice, really tried to make do with what was going on at the place. But other than that, yeah, it just wasn't happening.
I used to work here. This was a car dealership since 1971. There's been cars sold here, cars fixed here. This was full 2 months ago, full of cars, full of work. Right?
Epic Ford gone out of business. So yeah, February, I abruptly quit, and that was tough. And I talked about that in the video a little bit, but I knew my pay period was coming up, and so I wouldn't get paid past that moment. And it was just a good time to leave, So closed it out right in the middle. I didn't want them holding back anything for any such reason. Like as soon as my paycheck hit my account, I just packed up my tools and left. And it sort of left some people hanging. They kind of felt that way. But again, it was just so, again, when the upper management, the people, the ownership of the company doesn't care. And some of this goes to Ford, like, I'll be honest, because of the recalls and the way that they pay people, it just wasn't great. So instead of belly aching and complaining about it, I just left, There was actually a law passed, by the way, which reminds me of Illinois' governor who, for folks who work in car dealerships, like he actually had to pass a law, which is sort of sad because if you think about Henry Ford and some of the stuff that he said about leadership and here he is, J.P. Prexner had to pass a law and I'm not trying to get political. It's just like so that people like techs would get paid the same amount for warranty and recall work as when customers pay. So I thought that was a really cool thing. Like that's how it should be. And I think that car makers and manufacturers built cars in such a way where they had to think about that. Like this may cost us a lot of money. And I know that does. I know recalls nobody wants that. But at the same time, there's a certain risk and reward involved. And they might scrutinize their engineering a little better. Maybe if they realize they got to pay techs the same amount as they would pay, for a customer pay. So I thought that was a really good, interesting piece of legislation. But guys like Henry Ford said some stuff that was like, I shared that on my Twitter account. Just quotes by Henry Ford about leadership, about treating employees fairly. And here this dude has to pass a law in order for that to happen. Wow. So just talked to one of my old master techs who's actually supervising the lift removal. So the Marysville Ford dealership got the lifts and he's, kind of watching, make sure everything's okay with that. I did learn that this Mr. Swickward, who owns the multiple dealerships, who used to own this, he was going to sell it to another car group here in the area to kind of keep the jobs and stuff. And Ford said no. It was Ford that said no. So Ford said, no, we don't want Reardon up here having ownership of this dealership. So they closed it. Ford did. So some exclusive information. Interesting. And Ford didn't want to sell it to Reardon because, and again, this is me speculating, because Reardon is a Chrysler dealership. They own a bunch of Dodge, Chrysler, Fiat dealerships, right? That's kind of their. That's where they started as a Chrysler dealership, as far as I know. Maybe a GM dealership before that. I don't know, but I'm wondering, because of the multiple Chrysler dealerships that Reardon owns, that's why Ford said no. We also got to talking about the Ford Bronco a little bit too. So I'm going to make that video. That video's coming soon. I didn't recommend the Bronco, and the internet kind of freaked out on me a little bit. But I want to go into more detail. I made that last video, I had this videos in my phone. I knew I was leaving that job, or I had left that job. I can't remember. But I just threw up a video about my opinions about the Ford Bronco, and now I know a little more about this vehicle. The corporation Swickard or Jeff, whatever his name is, they didn't own the dirt to the business either. So that's another interesting thing. I'm still not clear on who actually owns that real estate. But I'm imagining that that's what it's going to be still. Like it's going to be apartments or something. That is prime real estate here in the city. He was also like, hey, if you need a job, right? I said, I got one now. I really like what I'm doing. I'm making good money. Sometimes I thought that, I'm not fast enough. I'm not good enough to do this kind of work professionally. I get those self-doubt feelings going on quite a bit, so I'm like, it was kind of cool to hear him, as a master tech at the shop who I worked with, and who oversaw some of my work and stuff. Like, he's like, hey, we'd love to see you down there. He asked me like a couple times. I showed him what I made last month, and he's like, oh wow, that's pretty good. So I'm pretty happy doing what I'm doing. But you never know. I'm hopefully apprehensive about TaskRabbit. And they just hired on some corporate-y mucky muck from Uber, and they changed the branding. I don't know, it almost looks like Uber's font. I'm like, uh-oh, right? I'm hopeful, but I've seen this before. All right, I won't get fooled again, as the Who would say.